Welcome ladies and gentlemen, this is Jacek Sputnik here, and today we are talking about Canon EOS R. So let's get to the point. Canon EOS R is not the newest camera out there for sure, and it like definitely had mixed reviews. Some people loved it, some people liked it, some people hated it, like always. I'm not on any side of that. I just think that this camera is totally okay for video makers and for photographers that want to save a buck and have an access to RF lenses, or want to just plug their older Canon lenses to a decent camera, not decent, to a great camera honestly, and just enjoy photography and videography. One of the things I love is this LCD display, which is a very handy thing. So it will tell you even when the camera is off, which mode are we in. So now we are in manual video mode. When you turn on, you see all the parameters, and I tested in a full sun, and this camera performs great. I mean, this LCD is still visible. It's in the night conditions. You have the little light here, and yeah, that's perfect solution. Solution that I don't like that much, but it's not a deal breaker, is that how you switch from video mode to photo mode. So you have to press mode and then info, mode and then info, back part of the camera, and you are back in photo mode. So it's okay, it's not ideal. I prefer the RF solution with this classic top dial button here, which is very handy, quick to operate, and clear to me at least, but this is what it is. Another thing that I would call, in this case I would call it a bummer, it's not really great, is this this thing here, which is this touch operation thing. It could be great. I'm not saying the thing itself is not that bad, but it's so easy to accidentally switch something that I honestly prefer to turn, switch functionality of that in the menu. Now it changes the autofocus mode, but I prefer to switch it to something totally unimportant, so I accidentally, but with my chin or nose, don't change anything with that thing. So you have full touch operation. You can browse through the menu, through all the functions here. You also have the quick settings menu that you can switch a lot of things, and it just works flawlessly. And of course you can select a autofocus zone. Perfect solution to me. I love touchscreen operation here, and this is something that Sony has been missing for quite a while. They are now on it, but Canon was there before. One thing that a lot of you may not like is just one SD slot here. It's okay to me, but for a lot of you that might be a problem. I don't mind, but I know that a lot of guys like to have backup card there and record the same thing on two cards just in case. I totally understand that if that's a very important thing to record. One of the things that I love about our system is that this extra you have this extra ring on your lens, on RF lenses, and in this case you can see it will change f-stop. So something pretty cool, and you can change functionality of this thing. So it generally applies to all our systems, so something extra that can increase the ergonomic value of that camera. And the grip itself, I like it. It's pretty deep, it's pretty nice, pretty comfortable. I cannot complain about that. Okay, so that's it pretty much about ergonomy. One thing that I love about this camera is when you turn it off and when you detach the lens, is this thing that it just closes, it covers the sensor. And now let's talk about image quality. So first, photos. You got over 30 megapixels of data here. You have compressed RAW files. You have pretty nice looking JPEGs out of the camera. So you have plenty of resolution combined with very good dual pixel autofocus. It is awesome. So I don't think that any photographer can complain about that camera. It's just great. It will detect your eye, it will detect your face. The amount of autofocus points is insane in that camera. So you have a lot of creative freedom. The dynamic range is not the greatest on the market, but it's honestly totally enough for I don't know, like 99% of you guys. When it comes to image quality, you can see some samples. I like the colors that Canon produces. And though I use Sony personally as my system, my personal photography and videography system, I kind of like Canon colors more, but that's just my opinion and my taste, and I'm not saying it's better. The only thing that you want to pay attention to is that it's not a big deal, but when you shoot on higher ISO and you want to drag this shutter slider up all the way up to 100%, you may get some noise there. And it's been a problem with Canon for years. It is small problem here on R, and it's even smaller on R5 and R6, so I will mention in my review of that cameras that problem, but in this case I have to mention. Okay, let's go to the video department now. So we have pretty nice video camera. Honestly, I cannot complain, so let's switch modes to manual video and let's see the menu. So you can see for yourself that you have a nice selection, nice variety here. So you have 4K up to 30 frames per second, you have 4K in 24 frames per second, you have Full HD in 60 frames per second, which is not the greatest out there. You know, a lot of cameras do 120 frames per second like Sony A7 Mark III, but it's not that bad. You always have some kind of slow motion. So the quality of the recordings is, to me, very good. You can see some of the recordings both in 4K and shot in Full HD in slow motion. You know, the downside of it is that it has a huge crop factor, which is 1.8. And yeah, that hurts, but you know, that's what we have here, so I just want you to be aware of that. One of the bummers here is that you have no in-camera image stabilization, you only have digital stabilization, which is kind of nice. It's always better to have it. Sorry, like you have disabled, enabled, or enhanced. However, you have to know that if you have a lens stabilization plus this digital stabilization, it gives a pretty stable looking footage, which you can see right now. And but the thing you have to be aware of, that if you enable image stabilization, clearly the crop will be even bigger, so you get like 2 crop factor, which is for some people maybe a little bit discouraging. For some people it doesn't matter at all. They just want good quality. To save this camera a little bit, there we have an access to a log, to Canon Log settings, and here in this 4th tab of the menu, you have Canon Log off. You can turn it on in 8-bit and it will record it internally or externally over HDMI. It will record 10-bit Canon Log, which is something great because you can turn this camera in using external recorders, for example Atomos recorder, to kind of a cinematic beast. Low light performance, you can see for yourself that it's pretty good. I did some studio tests and you can see that, you know, even in 6400 or even higher, the noise is not bad, so it's a totally usable footage. So for all of you that shoot weddings, for example, you should be just fine with that camera. The autofocus in video quality, in video mode, works flawlessly. You can see for yourself, it never loses the face, it rarely loses the eye, so I had no complaints. I know that some people find it a little bit unstable when it comes to continuous autofocus, that it can flow away sometimes. However, I didn't find it to be the case. I didn't have any issues with that. I found it to be very useful and nice. Okay, so who is this camera for? It's clear to me that this is 1st generation of Canon mirrorless cameras. However, what I like is the size and weight of the camera is not big. I like the LCD button. I like the access to 10-bit log. To have access to a 10-bit log. I like the colors that this camera produces, I like the resolution, and I like the focus system. So pretty much everything in this camera is pretty good, so I can easily recommend to everyone that wants to save some money and spend more money on lenses, which is to me more important than having the best body out there. And if you already have lenses, like older Canon lenses, you can use them over the, through the converter. And this converter is, a lot of times when you buy this camera, is part of the deal, so you can get as an offered accessory, and it works flawlessly. It really works like a native lens. Still good price, and then access to older Canon lenses may be a very good idea for a lot of you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't forget about something important here. If I did, please leave your comments below. Don't forget to leave thumbs up, subscribe, and I see you guys in the next one.